Welcome to the Good Vibes Club, a normal girl's guide to living your best life and being the best version of yourself. Whether you're listening on your commute, out on a hot girl walk, or curled up on your sofa, open your mind and get ready to feel those good vibes. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Good Vibes Club. I'm very excited to have another guest on with me today, and it's actually one of my best friends, and I've managed to persuade her this morning to get on an episode with me and convinced her to record a little bit of a podcast episode on one of our favourite topics in our friendship group, which is turning 30 and kind of embracing your timeline, being a child-free millennial, etc. So, Natasha, do you want to introduce yourself?
I will indeed. Hello everyone, I'm Tash. I am 30 years young.
Flirty and thriving.
30 and thriving. 13 going on 30, here we come. So yeah. This is so weird. Ignore my awkwardness, everyone. First time on a podcast.
She has never been on a podcast, and she only agreed to this about 4 hours ago.
My podcast virginity has been popped.
I've popped podcast cherry.
Ooh, something. So I have a very, standard job doing social media on the side. I like to call the Paint Fairy by Miss Jessica Sheppard.
She is the Paint Fairy. Her Instagram, by the way, Tash does Instagram too. Hers is at Natasha Louise Mackay, which we'll leave in the show notes.
Yes, I do everything from a bit of fashion to beauty.
Hair.
And hair. That is a new thing coming to my Instagram as well.
Yeah, that we'll talk about in a second, actually, because that's one of your little new career ventures, isn't it?
It is indeed. And I'm so excited.
So if you didn't know, Tash and I have actually been friends for how many years now? God, like 14?
14 years?
Yeah, it must be about 14 years.
It's been a long time.
A long time, baby. Nearly half our lives.
I know. Ain't we lucky to have each other?
But we literally have known each other so long. So we actually went to school together, but we weren't in the same year. So there's only 2 months between us, but I was the baby of my year and Tash was the oldest in her year. Yeah. So we're really close in age. We're just different years in school, and we actually know each other from school. So we had the same, we didn't have the same friend group, did we? We kind of just knew the same people and then ended up in a group.
It's like through friends, mutual friends.
It was through Sabrina, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our friend Sabrina actually introduced us, and now we're just pals.
I know. Can't get rid of one another.
Yeah. Now I can't get rid of her. I've even moved back down the road.
Exactly. We're stuck together now for the rest of our lives.
We literally are. So, Tash, one of the things I always do on my podcast is a good vibe of the week, which is basically something that's happened this week that you would consider to be your good vibe. So, like, it could be literally anything. So I would say my good vibe this week is... Oh, what could my good vibe this week be? Oh, actually, I think it's the sunshine. You know how we've just had this like amazing sun? Like my flat's got like natural heating at the moment. Like I haven't put my heating on all week and it's been like 26 degrees. It's bloody great.
You're winning. It's freezing in my house.
I've got like a greenhouse. It's great.
I'm like in trackies. I'm in my hoodie. I'm in fluffy socks. Walking around with my duvet. Hot water bottle. Literally just trying to make myself warm.
Trying to keep the heat in.
Exactly.
To be fair, I'm sat here in a sweatshirt, so I'm not exactly cold. Warm, sorry, but today's not that bad, but it's been really, really sunny. It's been really nice. What's your good vibe?
I think mine, which is weird because it's about my job. And we all know I don't like my job that much, but
we will soon discover this fact.
We will soon discover this. I will actually be a team leader at my job.
Oh, congratulations, little promotion.
Thank you very much. Been confirmed today. I will be in charge of some people and I will be whipping the chains.
She will be a boss bitch.
I will be. I'll be like, don't do that, do this. I'm going to go sit on my ass and do nothing. So,
Is it one of your best friends in your team as well?
Literally, yeah.
So you're literally going to be Ernesta's boss?
I am. Shout out to Ernesta on this podcast.
Shout out Ernesta. I've never even met her.
I know. So yeah, that's one good thing that's happened this week. I've had to do my first ever interview.
Ooh.
I know. And then been team leader. So it's been a good day.
How was the interview?
Scary.
Scary, but you're glad you did it.
Glad I done it. I just get nervous way too easily and just ramble on. And you know what I'm like, very flingy hands as I am doing now. I'm very like, emotional. And
you're like me. when we're nervous, we talk before we think, and we just talk.
Literally, it's like you don't shut up. And it's just like you have that inner voice in your head going, shut up, shut up, shut up, stop talking, stop talking.
But you just don't.
And now it's like someone needs to just go hand over the mouth, stop talking. But it was good. It was good. I'm proud of myself. So that's
a pretty good vibe of the week, though.
I know.
I'm growing up. Sunshine. I also have my brother coming over tonight as well, actually, which is quite a good vibe of the week. I love my brother. He's great. We all love Chris. Chris is a good time. Chris is desperate to come on the podcast, and I've told him it's no boys allowed.
It's a girl zone only.
He might be allowed in the future, but I just don't think a normal girl's guide really resonates with an army boy. But, you know, we could bring him on and ask him some questions. I'm sure he'd be willing. I mean, he has actually asked.
He does like to sing the old Disney song as well.
He does. He is a New Disney Year's addict. He was here on New Year's, and he was, I don't even know how to describe, he was like giving a performance to High School Musical on his own, dancing around. It was quite the experience. It
was, but also I didn't mind. It was a good show.
I'm pretty sure there's a video somewhere. If there is, I'll put it on the podcast Instagram, which if you don't know what that is, it's at thegoodvibesclub.podcast. So I'll pop it up and I'll make like, I don't know, maybe I make an episode guide like on my highlights. I don't know. We'll work it out, but I'll put it on the stories on there so you can have a little look. But should we get on with the episode?
Let's get on with it.
Okay, so Tash, our chat today is about turning 30, life stages. We're going to talk all about how we feel being child-free 30-year-old millennials and how we're smashing our own timelines. So do you want to give us a little bit of background into how your life looks right now? And I'll do the same.
Okay, so not going into too much detail, but this will be something that I'm sure we will cover. Tea, spill the tea, spill the tea.
Get the tea flowing.
Get the tea, put a little bit of sugar in it, and stir away. God. I feel sorry for everyone's ears that just had to hear that.
Tea,
spill the tea. A little bit of sugar, spill the tea.
Well, we've established you're not spilling the tea, so why don't you carry on?
My 30 timeline hasn't been what I thought it was going to be, but it's taken me a while to just accept it, and I'm happy with how and where I am.
So give us an insight. What does your life look like right now? What's your living situation? Like, do you buy? Do you rent? What's your job situation? Like, give us a little bit. Obviously, you don't have to share too much, but just give us a bit of insight into what that's like right now.
So currently in my first home, which will be purchased, all mine, but we'll be selling very, very soon. And we'll be going into a whole new venture, which I'm very excited about. Job-wise, been in the same job since I was 17, and I'm climbing up the ladder, which is kind of a good thing. Not what I thought I would be doing. I thought I'd be in a different job by now, but I'm
job progression's still good though. You can be in the same job.
Exactly. Who knows? Could be supervisor in a couple of years.
Could be running the country soon.
Exactly. I could be prime minister. Everyone watch out. But yeah, I don't have any kids, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy being selfish and carefree and living life for me, which I think we can all agree. Jess, I've never done that. I've always put everyone else first.
You absolutely have. I think Tash is finally entering her like selfish era where Tash is someone who her whole life has always like, I hope you don't mind me saying this. If you do, tell me to cut it out. But you have always been like very much like a relationship girl, and you've always put that person first. And you've always like, their needs have always been bigger, and you've always kind of done whatever they wanted to do. And if they wanted to buy a house, or if they wanted to get a car, or if they wanted to do this, you wanted to do it too. Like, you never really put what you wanted and needed first.
Yeah, I've always put all my relationships first before my own needs. And I think I had an epiphany when I turned 30. It was long overdue, but I turned 30 and I was like, no, I'm putting myself first. 2023 is my year, and I'm doing it. I'm in my girl era.
Your boss bitch era.
Boss bitch era. All about me
But
era.
That's the way to do it. Like, that is the right thing to do.
If only I'd had this a couple of years ago.
We tried, girl. We tried.
I know. You just kept telling me, and I just kept ignoring it. And here we are. But I had my own path. I had my own journey. And here we are. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, I definitely think you needed to go through what you've gone through to be where you are now. And I think that's the same with every single person. Like, you have to really go through the seasons and go through those things to really know who you are and what you're about and what you want ultimately. Like, if you don't go through the experiences, how do you know that you don't want them in the future?
Yeah,
it's the same as like relationships. Like, bad relationships they're not a bad thing. They can be, but like a bad relationship just teaches you what you don't want from a future relationship. It's giving you a lesson.
It's a trial and error.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
But I always find it so interesting because, like, between the two of us, we obviously are from very similar areas and stuff. And, like, we are the same age, give or take 2 months. And I think it's so interesting to see how similar but different our lives are. Like, you've always been a long-term relationship girl. Oh, yeah. I've had a couple of relationships. Like, I had like a 6-year relationship when I was like 18. I don't even know if I've ever mentioned it. If you watched my vlogs back in the day, you would know this. But, I came out of that at like 25, and then I had a couple of like short terms, and now I'm in like a 2-year, nearly 3-year relationship with James, and like we're going really well. Whereas you've had like two, like your first one was like 6 years, no, 7 years, something like that.
No, first one was like 4.5. It seems longer.
See, I think it was intense. Yeah, I agree. And then this one is like what, 8 years?
No, like coming up like to 10.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Because you, Amelia, and Sabrina, like our other 2 really good friends, they're all in very similar length relationships, and they're all like nearing the decade mark.
Exactly.
Whereas I am in a new relationship and I don't own my house. I rent. James is just moving in now. Like, I've lived on my own for 2 years, which, by the way, is the best experience of my life. I'm going to do a whole podcast on living on your own. But it's just, I think it's really interesting to see like the different life stages. And like when we were younger, like I'd say early 20s, we were so adamant that we would be like married with babies and a house, and like we thought our lives would be so different.
Oh yeah, massively different. Thought I'd be engaged at the age of like 24, kids at the age of 27.
You were dead set on that timeline as well.
Oh, I know. God, someone take me back and shake my head.
But at least you didn't do those things. And I always think this as well, like there's so many times where I was always like, oh, I really want to have a baby when I'm like 25, and like I want to be 27 before, like I want to make sure I've done all these things by the time I'm 30. And I think, thank God I didn't. So, you know, when you turn 30, like obviously we had these like trajectories of what we thought our lives would be. Do you think you found 30 hard? I feel like I kind of know the answer to this, but I'm just intrigued to see what you would say.
Yes and no. Only because I think for so long we'd like built up this whole thing of being like, oh my God, it's 30, it's another decade, we're meant to have our lives together and all this sort of stuff. And then
like 30 seems like a big deal.
Literally. But
I think everyone makes 30 into a huge, huge deal.
Yeah, it's like you're meant to know what career you're meant to be in, you're meant to be settled down, like with your own house, a kid on the way, married, and it doesn't work out like that. And it's totally fine. But I think for me, where, like I said, I've always been like a relationship focused person, and my relationship hasn't been smooth. It's been very, very bumpy, and
which I'd say is normal. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, because I think relationships need tests. Otherwise, like if you never have a test, you never know how you're going to get through something.
Exactly. Like with my current relationship now, we've had a rocky patch where I moved out for 6 months because we just weren't getting along. We weren't meeting each other's needs. I felt like as if our relationship was fizzling out, and I had to take a step back from the relationship to focus on myself, put me first, and realise, actually, do you know what? 30 is not the end of my life. I shouldn't be settling down, having kids. I still have time to live. I could still have a kid when I'm like 35.
I mean, I still feel like I now understand the term when parents are like, I still feel 21. Like your dad, prime example, your dad still acts like a teenager.
Literally, my dad is the biggest child you will ever meet. He
Tash's
doesn't act his
dad
age.
used to like, he used to dance around singing Michael Jackson with us at like 18 when we were going on nights out. He'd like pre-drink with us. It was great.
Literally, like my dad, bless him, he's in his 60s. He's had a bit
Baffles me every day.
Literally doesn't look 60. He's had a bit of like health issues over the last couple of years, but he's still kicking it as if he's an 18-year-old. And it's like, Dad, calm down. But also I'm quite glad, because I feel like I've got that gene where I don't really look my age. I don't act my age either. And I'm just like living life. So thanks, Dad. If you ever listen to this, I'll send you the link.
He will so listen. Hi, John.
I know. Hey, Dad, how's it going?
But it is true. Like, I think like I always used to be like, you're so embarrassing, but my parents would be like, I feel 21, and I'd be like, you are gross, you're like 50. But now I so get it, like I really understand what they mean when they're like, I still feel really young, because I still feel like that 21-year-old who used to go on nights out all the time. Like, granted, we've got a lot more life experience now, but like I still feel as young and fun as I did back then.
Oh yeah,
just with a bit more life experience and a bit more money in my pocket.
Exactly. And the name of the age 30.
Yeah, we've just gained like a few years.
Exactly. I know we don't look it, but we're still.
But I find it funny because you don't feel like you had. Do you really not feel like you had any kind of like epiphany when you turned 30, when you were like, oh, I really like my life isn't how I thought it would look?
Yeah, massively. Like leading up to it, I was like, my life is nowhere near where I wanted it to be. And I think it was probably like the month before, because for me it just seemed like it went really, really slow. I mean, like, I think 2022 for me wasn't a great year anyways in itself, and it was like, great, this is like the cherry on the top of the cake. I'm turning 30 this year. And then
I feel like we're going to really celebrate yours this year. Like, you'll have like a 30 but on your 31st, I think.
Exactly. I feel like 30 plus 1. It's like the big celebration. Because I didn't really celebrate it last year. I really didn't want to celebrate. I was just, like, being completely honest, I was not in the headspace to celebrate. I was so down. I was miserable. I was crying like every single day pretty much. It was a bad time. So for me, I'm not 30 yet. I'm 29.
I mean, we lost 2 years to lockdown. Like, you can so do that. I think this year we have to do a big thing for yours, because I think I milked 30. Like, I milked 30.
It's like a whole month and a half long.
If you haven't followed me very long, or you haven't seen, I basically did several things. Although granted, some of them weren't really like my doing. So I had a surprise from my boyfriend, who is the most amazing human being in the world. He took me to Santorini for a surprise trip for my 30th, which was amazing. We had a week in Santorini
James.
together. Well done, James.
Brownie points.
Do you remember when we used to call James the God? He used to be the Greek
god. Oh my god, yeah.
Because he's gonna die that I mentioned this. We used to call James a Greek god because he's just beautifully chiseled and he's so tall and godly.
Exactly. There's muscles upon muscles upon muscles. And he's like,
you'd see if he ever came online.
He's so freaking tall. It's like, hello.
He is very, very tall. But yeah, he took me to Santorini, which was lovely. So we had a nice week together. I also went with a few girls to Crete, so some of my besties. Tash did not come, unfortunately. I did have quite a few friends who couldn't come for various reasons, actually. Like, one of my friends literally dropped out the day before because she had COVID, which was all fun and games. She was fine with it. She didn't have any issues, but she just couldn't come. But yeah, I had a girls' weekend in Crete. What else did we do? We did a few other things, didn't we?
We did a spa. We did a spa evening.
We did a spa trip.
We did a spa trip.
I'm getting confused because I feel like all of us turned 30 at the same time, and it's really hard to know which was which.
I was going to say afternoon tea, but that wasn't afternoon tea for
afternoon
you.
Tea was yours.
Oh yeah,
yours
that was
and
mine.
Amelia's,
yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I milked 30. But funnily enough, so I think 30 affected me slowly. Like, I remember sitting in Santorini, and so we got to Santorini the day before my birthday, and then my birthday was like our first full day there, and we were sat having dinner in the evening, and I just remember sitting there and crying and being like, oh my god, this is my last ever evening being 20s. Like, my 20s are over. And I was like, do I think I've had enough fun? Have I done enough things? Like, have I made enough money? Have I lived my life the way I want to live it in my 20s? And I was so upset because I was like, oh my god, I'm never going to be 20 again. And then as soon as I turned 30, I just didn't care. Like, I remember seeing, so there was we were like on a cliff face in Santorini. Like, everything in Santorini is on a bloody cliff face, but we had this like amazing sunset, and there was a balcony that was like in view of where we were, and there was a girl sat in a hot tub on her balcony with these 30 balloons, and I remember sitting and thinking, I'm not the only one.
I remember you sending me a picture of that.
Yeah, I was like, guys, I'm not alone. But
there's someone else
as soon as I turned 30, I just didn't care anymore. Like, I literally was like, I'm going to just live my best life. And last year for me, I decided was going to be like my yes year, because obviously when you're in your 30s, you start to think more about children and marriage and like all the different things that cost money. Like, granted, your 30s are your 20s, but with more money and more fun. But I just decided last year was going to be my year of yes, and I just said yes to absolutely everything, and I just made my 30s the absolute best year of my life.
And
which
you literally did. You were
sounds
everywhere.
really awful because yours was the stark contrast. But yeah, I just went everywhere.
Everyone's journey is completely different. Like mine was literally probably like the worst year of my life, where yours was literally the best. But this is the thing, like I think like
yours is going to be this year for sure.
Yeah, 2023 is my year. I mean I'm saying that 2023 was like 2023? No, 2022 was a rubbish year, but I did things that I wanted to also do. So I got a new car.
You did.
Granted enough, I was in a car crash.
I was going to say, it wasn't exactly the easiest way to get it.
No, exactly. And like, I also wanted to get my teeth sorted out last year. And then, granted enough, that didn't happen in the best way because I lost a really tooth.
But the universe is giving you those things, my girl. The universe is putting those things in front of you.
Exactly. And I feel like this year is going to be the year where I can actually end it and say, do you know what? I'm actually really happy. And 30 ain't so bad.
I honestly think this year is going to be your year. I think you are going to have the best time ever. Yeah, I just think like this year you've got more freedom. I feel like you did a lot of self-discovery work last year and you really focused on who you are. I think you started to get more into manifesting because I've been pushing you with it for years, and I think you finally started to get it. Like it started to click. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's going to be, I already know it. And we've got like an epic trip to Paris planned. We can do more girls trips. We're going to do a big thing for your birthday. Like you've got lots of big things coming, I think.
I know. It's going to be a good year. I can feel it.
Maybe a new career venture.
Hopefully. Still don't know.
Tash is actually very good at hair and makeup. Like she used to do. If you followed Tash back in the It's Simply Beauty days, which some of you may well have done because I feel like people have followed us both for years. But Tash used to do It's Simply Beauty. I mean, it says it in the title, but she used to do really good like what's it called? SFX?
Oh my god, what's it called?
Special effects.
Yeah, that's the one.
Like, yeah, she used to do like special effects stuff, and it was so good. So I feel like you should get back into that kind of thing. Well, you kind of are, aren't you? You're doing like the hair and makeup stuff.
I still do it, like dabble every now and then, but I need to make it more of like a thing this year because I like doing it. I like being creative like that.
The different things take priorities at different time of your life, I think, though. Exactly. Like you do it when you're called to do it, and I think at the moment your focus has been so much on like self-discovery and like self-love and self-worth and stuff. So I feel like that's going to be a good progression.
Exactly, getting me to the
get that money, honey,
and the money. Give me all the money. Manifest money.
What's that? You know that TikTok that's going around and it's like, ching 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 goes the money tree. Dun, dun, dun. I don't even know how it goes.
To me. I know exactly what you're on about.
Yeah, and it's like use this sound, otherwise like blah blah blah.
It's like the amount of times I've like just randomly filmed myself sitting in bed listening to it, being like, I am getting it, and it's just in my drafts.
I know, I always do it too. I'm like, I've saved it. Or you know when it's like on TikTok they'll be like save, like, and like interact 3 times. I just send them to James and he's like, why the fuck are you sending me another TikTok? And I'm like, because it's good karma. They're almost like the Gen Z version of like spam emails, or like those, remember those MSN spam ones you used to get?
Oh god, MSN. The days of MSN. Oh,
I feel like that's what it's like.
Did Gen Zs have MSN?
No, god no.
Because I can't remember when MSN just kind of
Gen Z's is like I think it's 1997 onwards, so they're like 25 now. So I don't think so, because that would have been like year 7s when we were in year 11.
Yeah, they might have had
and
it.
I feel like we didn't really use it in year 11 because you think like at the end of year 11 it was like BBM.
Oh yeah, BBM
and like Bebo.
Oh, Bebo. Remember the other halves of me.
Or maybe you used to get so annoyed if your boyfriend or the person you fancied didn't give you their love that day.
Oh yeah.
And you used to only get 3 love a day or something, didn't you?
What a time to be alive.
We lived at the best. I think millennials, like our generation, lived at the best time. We had the best of both worlds, and it's bloody great.
We saw the inventions of Apple and the iPhones, internet dial-up, flip phones. It was
Do you know, I actually remember I was talking to someone about this the other day. I remember having an iPhone 3GS and you had an iPhone 4. And I remember like mine was curved and yours was like, do you remember it was like the bricky kind of one?
The bricky one, yeah.
And I remember coming to your house and we were sat in your bedroom watching The Hills, more than likely. And we were talking and you were like, oh my God, I've downloaded this app called Instagram. And I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I couldn't download it because I had an iPhone 3GS, and suddenly everyone was getting it. And I was so jealous because I couldn't afford to go and get an iPhone 14 because obviously I'm like on a contract and I was really young and like part-time jobs and whatever. And I was so jealous that I couldn't get Instagram. I didn't have it for about a year.
Yeah. And then when you got it, you're like, oh my God, I've got Instagram.
I think I got it in like 2012.
Yeah.
And I'm still using that first account I ever created.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, mine's still the same account.
Oh my God. I like
so was yours
mine.
until we changed it last year.
Yeah, I know. When I rebranded myself.
Anyway, back on subject. So, do you think that you feel pressured by the timeline? Like, do you feel like there's anything, like, do you feel like you how do I word this in the best way? So like, do you think that you should have hit certain milestones by this point? Like, do you feel like your life is fulfilled, or do you feel like you could have, like, you're pressured into being like, say, for, like, outside pressures? Because I feel like you definitely have outside pressures, and so do I, in like certain respects of like,
yeah,
don't you think you should be doing that by now? And like older generation like pushing to be like,
oh yeah, like I definitely feel like with like family pressure, everything that you see on social media as well, like we were saying this earlier, how we feel like our entire like timelines of like Instagram is people pregnant, announcing that they're pregnant, getting married, babies, and we're kind of like,
there's a lot of babies at the moment.
But also at the same time, like, as much as like I would love to be at that point in my life, I'm really not. I'm so far from that point, and it's taken me a while to actually be like, do you know what, I don't need to be at that point. I'm happy with where I am now. It can happen in another couple of years' time, and I don't have the pressure that I would have had like a couple of months prior to turning 30. So
at one point were very adamant, weren't you? You were like, I need a baby by the time I'm 30. Like, I need babies. I've been in my relationship a really long, like, I have been in my relationship for X amount of years. I need to have a baby by this point. Like, I've been together too long. Like, other people have had babies by now. Like, blah blah blah. And you were so like,
oh yeah, like
we should be having a baby and getting married. Like,
to the point where it's going to be like being like buckaroo, wouldn't get off just so I could have a freaking kid. But now looking,
what you mean?
I'm glad you did.
I was like, what is she talking about? Then I was like, oh my God, she did say that.
Yes. But everything happens for a reason. And it's okay. Everyone is at a different point in their lives. And I think it's now gotten to the point where in my relationship, we both aren't at that point.
Yeah, and which is so important because it's two of you. Like, you have to both be in the same space.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, without going into too much detail right now, it's made me evaluate my relationship, and that's why I'm focusing on me, because I want to be at the same point as a person who I want to spend the rest of my life with, and it's not happening, and I'm okay with it. Like, I've dealt with it. So
yeah,
I want to have kids with someone when it's ready and it's right for the both of us, and we both actively talk about it, and we talk about like marriage and the future. It will happen. It's just not happening right now.
I think that's a good thing to point out as well. Like, you could feel ready, but if your partner's not ready yet, then it's not the right time, because you ultimately don't want to like pressure someone into it either. Like, imagine you pushed someone to engage to you, push someone to get engaged, or pushed someone to have a child. Like, that's not going to then give you the life you want, because you're like, not that this is what's happened to Tash in any means, I just mean in general, like, it's never going to end well when someone feels forced into that situation. Like, it has to be a progression both sides, and it has to be something you both mutually want. And
one of you is going to resent the other one, and it's never a good thing. And I think for us women, we have the clock that ticks. We are way more ahead than the guys are. And if there's any guys listening, if you are at a point at an early stage where you're in a relationship and you actually know what you want, well done to you.
Say it.
I wish there was more men like you out there.
I think men freak out a lot. Like, I think they really panic about life. Like, I found with men, like, a lot of the time, like, speaking to boys, or like just, hearing conversations and stuff, they like to be ready for a child. They want to be financially able to support you, to support that child. Like, buying a house, they want to know that they can do it with like money in the bank. Whereas girls are like, why can't I have a baby? Like, I can have a baby now. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be financially stable. Everyone does it.
Exactly. I feel like we're more in like we don't think about the realistic things. We're more on like the dreamland side of things. Like, I just want a baby, but we don't think of like money stuff. Like, of course, there's loads of people out there that have kids with not a lot of money. There's people that have kids with tons of money, but every person is different. And I don't
every
think
situation
guys think
is
that.
different.
Yeah, exactly. And like, think of the amount of people that have had kids and had to like scrimp and save, or have to like deal with like 2 kids with like one person working. Like, everyone deals with it. Where I think
I don't think anyone's ready.
No one's ready. I don't even think like I'll ever be fully ready.
I don't think we ever will be.
No, I think the day I take a pregnancy test, I think that will be the day that I actually pass out. Because I'll be like, whoa.
Do you know what? Every time I've like, you know, when you're like late by your period by a bit and you're like, oh, need to buy a pregnancy test just to check. Like, not that it would be a bad thing if you are, but I always get really embarrassed buying it because I'm like, oh, yes, I'm really naughty.
Because I still feel like I'm in a young mindset where I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm 16 and I'm buying a pregnancy test. And I'm like, oh my God, everyone's going to judge me for buying a pregnancy test. Not that anyone should.
Time. And like the thought of having to tell my parents I'm pregnant still makes me really scared because I'm like, oh my God,
they know I'm having sex.
Yeah, they're going to be so annoyed with me. Like, oh my God.
I know, like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. No, it was a miracle conception. I'm still a virgin.
You have 9 months to get around to the fact that you're getting pregnant. Like, when it happens, you've got time to get used to it. But it's definitely something that's like just strange.
I know.
But it is like I think everyone feels the pressure of like feeling. I think family is the biggest pressure for sure. Like, absolutely. Like, my family, I think, as much as they're really understanding and they're like, I don't know, like, I've got the pressure almost the other way. Like, you know, my mum is great. Yeah, she's a good time girl. But my mum is very much like, she will absolutely listen to this. You're her favourite. She literally adores you.
Hi Maggie, how are you?
I love Tash so much. But my mum has always been like, don't settle down, don't have kids, don't do this, like, wait, enjoy your life, travel, do this, do that. And she is very like the opposite. So I almost feel like she'd have been annoyed if I settled down. Not annoyed, because I think she'd always have been like grateful if I had kids and stuff, but I think she would have been very like, oh, you really should have lived more first.
Yeah. But I feel like now if you did get pregnant, she'd be like, yeah,
oh my God, my child has already been knitted a jumper. The woman has already knitted my future fetus a jumper. The child doesn't even exist. It's not even in discussion. Like, me and James have not discussed, like, we've obviously talked about children, but like, we're not trying or anything. But this child already has clothes.
I mean, get prepared. Clothes cost a lot of money these days.
But the child had a jumper before. So my stepdad's, like, my stepbrother, but we don't really see them. So my stepbrother's wife just had a baby, and my mum knitted something for my future child that's not even existing yet before the child that was actually in her belly.
Oh, bless.
Gotta love Maggie. She's great. She wanted an excuse to knit, and I was like, you can knit me a jumper. She's like, no, I want to knit little people clothes. So I was like, okay.
Oh,
then little people clothes you can knit.
See, this is the thing though. It's like, I feel like parents that like knit and stuff, they're like ahead. They're like, want something that's like cute. They can pass it down. It can be like like, it can be there. It's like a little souvenir from like their grandparents. A souvenir from the grandparents. It's probably not the right word to use, but
no, it's not. I can't think what the word is.
What is
a
it
souvenir
called?
Is what you get on holiday.
Oh, what is it?
Like a memento, like a keepsake.
That's the one.
A souvenir.
I haven't slept. My brain is just...
That's so funny.
frazzled. Hi, I'm Tash. I say the wrong words sometimes. I'm 30 and I really don't know how to speak and stuff.
No, literally me too.
I blame the dyslexic brain.
I mean, I've just had a coffee, so I am buzzing. Like, I am ready to go.
I mean, I haven't slept since yesterday at about 6 o'clock for about an hour and a half. So I'm sleep deprived. This is what it's like to have a child.
Do you know what? We can't moan. I was going to say we can't moan about sleep deprivation because we don't have kids. Although I do think one thing that really annoys me is when people with children will be like, you don't even know what sleep deprivation is like. You haven't got a kid. And I'm like, no, I don't. But
I still know what it means.
I know what it means to me, and I know how bad it feels right now. Like,
exactly.
You know, when you get a kid, like a teenager going through heartbreak, and then they're like crying over this week-long boyfriend, and you're like, wait till you get divorced. Like, that is the worst thing that has ever happened to that person because they've never experienced it before. So I'm like, let me be sleep deprived. I know it's going to get worse. I'm already preparing for the fact it's going to get worse. But like, let me just be sleep deprived for right now.
I'm training my body, just doing it, and I don't know when I'm actually going to be sleep deprived, but I'm training my body.
And also, I'm quite happily child free.
Exactly.
I'm enjoying my time.
Exactly. I can go out. I don't have to think about getting the pram ready, getting the nappies ready, putting the child into the car.
Yeah,
just
living our best selfish era life.
Go.
And I think I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do things, but I do think that having a child in your 30s as opposed to your 20s, I feel like you've just got so much life experience that you've had before. Like, granted, people, like, I know full well that like people, their purpose is having a child. They adore children. They just want to have a child. And I think there's so many ways to and not to do it. But I do think that if you're in your 30s and you don't have a child, there's no shame in it. Like, you've just lived your life a little bit more. You've just had a bit more fun. And if you had a child early, like, great, there's no shame in that either. Like, you chose to have a family younger, and that's fine. And like, everyone can live their life on their own timelines. And I just think whatever works for you, but I am enjoying being selfish.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I like that I've got a lot of stories from my kid. Like, my kid can look through my photo albums. Like, it's quite a known fact between my friends that I'd carry a disposable camera everywhere. Like, I am like emotionally attached to that disposable camera.
She's like the parent of the group that will take pictures of everything and absolutely everything. If we need a picture, Jess has got a picture of it and it's fine.
I'm like, on nights out when you were younger and someone used to have the digital camera. It was always Amelia. It was never me, actually.
She was.
Her pink digital camera came everywhere, and you'd have to like pester her for days to get the pictures of the nights out, and you'd always think they were better than they were.
Exactly.
But
and you have to wait for them to put them on Facebook.
Oh my god, and they were all hideous all the time.
And every like photo album was named Night Out.
She did,
with
didn't
dates,
she?
Or like summer 09.
Or it'd be like so and so's 17th birthday party.
Yep.
Like she had. Yeah, Amelia's Facebook is where it's at. That is the archive of our teenage years. But I am the archive of our later life. Later life, I make us sound so old, but
our late 20s to our early 30s.
I actually have started printing them though. So I've got in my living room, I've got like a photo album of each year at the moment. So I started it last year, and it's kind of like random pictures. Literally all the disposable pictures are in there, but also like random pictures that just are meaningful or whatever. And it's so nice to have them, because the whole reason I've got them is for me and you and like everyone else to look back when we're older, but also like I think it would be cool for our children to look at them and be like, oh my god, look how cool our parents were. Look how much fun they had. Like, they lived their life and they had so much fun. And I think we're almost of that generation where we're not being told to get married young and have kids and like settle down really young. We're being told to like go out and have fun. And I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like
we're a new generation.
We are literally a whole new generation. It's going to be interesting to see what the next generation is going to be like.
Isn't there a stat that like this, was it last year or something, was like I can't remember what it was, but it was something to do with like women being 30 and not having children. There was like the highest statistic of, wasn't it like more women were 30 without a child than with a child or something like that, which is mental.
I think the age where women were having kids was like 33, 34.
Which I don't think is old still. I think that's young.
Yeah. But then
like I ideally want to be having my first one. Like I've decided, I've come to peace with like, I want my first one at around like 32, 33. But I also am so okay with that. Well, okay, I say I'm so okay. I'm not so okay. Like I'd be all right if that was like a bit later. But I just don't want to be an old parent. No. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Like my mum was 36 when I was born, and my mum still looks young.
She was 36
like, she was always still
fun.
Yeah, my mum was 36, and she, like, I don't think now looking at her you'd even know how old she is. I mean, you know how old she is. Hello, just add 30. But like, she's gonna hate me so much for saying that. But I just think there's no, like, we still had the great life. She still ran around with us. Like, she still was loads of fun. There was nothing that changed because she was a bit older.
No, but I think
you know what I mean?
There's like a lot of like stigma around when you turn 30, you're old.
Yeah.
Because like when we were younger, think what we would look at someone who's 30 like, oh my god, you're so old. But you're not.
The kids now probably look at us and think that though, Tash.
Yeah. Damn those youngsters.
Like I see Gen Zs that, like, the worst is when you go into a supermarket and it's like a really young person at the till, and I'm like, they're definitely about 15, and they obviously have to be 18 because they're saying yes to you buying alcohol, but they will look at you and like they won't even ID you, they'll just scan it, and that's when you know you're old.
I know.
When the teenagers think you're too old, that's when you know you're old.
It's like, oh damn it. That's it. I'm not in my prime
It
anymore.
happens all the time, and I hate it. Like when they look at you and they're like, you are obviously too old to be buying this. And I'm like, cry, just ID me and just make me feel good.
When I get ID'd, it's like, yes. Yeah, here's my ID.
James at the other day actually got ID'd for buying Monster, you know, the energy drink. You have to be 16.
Oh,
and he
my
got ID'd.
God.
And I was like, he looks young, but bloody hell, he does not look 16. Like, that is ridiculous.
That should be his vibe of the week.
James's vibe of the week, being ID'd for Monster and being told he looks young. People actually think James is younger than me as well. I find that really strange.
Really?
He's 5 years older than me. Yeah, a lot of the time people are like, oh, I thought he was younger than you.
Oh, wow. Not that
Which
I'm saying
I'm
that
like
James
very
looks
offended
old,
by.
but I'm just saying that you look young.
I just think it's very offensive to say that I look old.
How dare they? Block them. Block and delete.
I think my brother said it actually.
Chris, how dare you?
I don't know. But then people also think my brother's older than me. Like, a lot of people think Chris is older than me, and Chris is 2.5 years younger than me.
Yeah, I would look at Chris and think he's older than you.
But I think because, you know, Chris is like the geeky little teenager that sat in his bedroom all the time playing Xbox, like, you just already know he's younger. He was that geeky little kid, bless his heart. And now he hits on Tash on the regular.
Hey Chris, how's it going?
Starting a petition to make Tash my sister-in-law. Thank you so much.
Woo woo.
I did try for a while.
Yeah, she did.
I
She
was
did
gunning
try.
for that.
Still tries.
It didn't work, but I was gunning.
Still on the odd occasion of like, Tash, Chris.
What do you think about that one?
What do you think? Chris.
I mean, the parents already like you, so you're fine. You're halfway in the door.
Yes, winning. I can come to all the Christmas family parties and get drunk with everyone.
We do have bloody good parties, to be fair.
You do. I'm very jealous.
So, Tash, we asked on Instagram if there was any questions anyone had to ask us relating to what we're talking about right now. Someone said, how do you shake the feeling that you're out of time? I'm almost 30 and keep thinking I should be at a better place and a different place in my life, and it's really overwhelming.
Honestly, I think every person will have this thought.
Everyone.
And just remember, it is okay. No one has their life planned. No one has their life sorted. It literally is just taking it day by day. And I think when you come to realise that that's how life is, you just got to take it day by day, you will start enjoying life so much more.
Absolutely. I think you have to take away the pressure of feeling like your life isn't going to plan, because ultimately you are on the right path. You are on the right plan. Like, the universe is literally guiding you. You are never going to make the wrong decisions about your life. And I think you need to just kind of, it sounds easier than it is, and I know it's a lot harder than this, but you almost just have to like break the thought process and like not think about the fact that your life should be different, because you are doing things the way you're supposed to be doing things. Like, you could think that you want kids sooner, but like ultimately that's, your life is planning out the way that it should be planning out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's something to journal about, actually, to journal why you feel like you aren't like at the right place in life, why you feel like you're out of time. No one's out of time. Like 30, if you die at 60, then you're halfway through your life. Like, we are not dying at 60, girls. We are living our best fucking life, and we are going to be here till we're over 100, because our generation is living longer apparently. But I think no one's out of time, and there's never a right time. Like me and Tash have been saying, like, people have kids older now. Like, there's like J.K. Rowling didn't even write Harry Potter till she was in her bloody like 40s or 50s, for God's sake. Like, we have plenty of time. No one's life is ending. 30 is not the be all and end all. It is the beginning. Like,
it's just a
turning
number.
30, you have technically only been an adult for 9 years, because technically you don't turn into an adult until you're 21. So we're still young adults. We're still babies. I'm just a baby.
Little babies. I'm just a baby.
Do you want to go with one of yours?
Okay, right. Feeling like you don't have enough friends in your 30s, comparing yourself to others on Instagram.
Instagram is a highlights reel, and I can't say that loud enough.
Exactly.
Just because someone is outwardly friends with someone does not mean they're best mates, does not mean you have less friends. I would rather have quality over quantity.
Exactly. You don't need to have 1,000,001 friends, as long as you have a couple of good, close friends that are going to be there for you all the time. And plus, when you're older, you don't see your friends every single day. You probably still talk every single day, but you all have your different life path. You all have different things going on. And as long as you check in with each other, it's okay. But you don't need to have 1,000,001 friends. And trust me, when you get to 30, you will realise who your actual real friends are.
100%.
Exactly.
And I know people say that when you have kids and stuff as well, like you realize, but I think everyone's circles get smaller as they get older, and I think that's so normal. And people online might look like they have 50 friends or like 10 friends at a dinner or something, but it doesn't mean that they're really close to all those people. And just because they look like they've got loads of friends, it doesn't mean they even get on. Like, everyone's different.
Exactly.
Don't compare yourself to people online, because I think Instagram is like the devil for comparison, but everyone's on their own trajectory, and it's okay not to have many friends. Like, I would personally rather have a really small pool than have like 50 people. And also, I don't know if this is like an actual thing, but I'm pretty sure there's only like, we all only have enough time to keep up regularly with 5 people. I think that's something like that.
I
want to say that's a
yeah,
thing. I'm not
that
sure.
is a thing, yeah. But also, like, remember, people will only show Instagram what they want
Highlights.
to show. They're never going to show like the bad times. They're never going to show like the fallouts that they have with their friends and all this sort of stuff. They will only show what they want you to see.
Yeah.
So don't get blinded by Instagram, people.
I'm going to be doing an episode on making friends in later life and manifesting friendships and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that if that is how you feel and you do feel like you want more friendships, don't be closed off to making new friends. Like, it's always okay to make new friends. You just have to be really open to new people. Like, it sounds really silly, but I wouldn't say I necessarily met people in any specific way last year, but I became really open to new friendships, and I did end up making a lot more new friends last year. And I would say my circle now is considerably bigger. Like, I would say beginning of 2022, I probably had maybe like 5 really good friends that I really enjoyed spending time with, and now I've probably got 10, but they're not all in one group. I don't see them all the time, but you just have to be really open to those friendships, and friendships will come to you. And just make the effort to be that friend as well. Like, me and my friend Jay, for example, we kind of forced our friendship on each other, and I think we met and we knew that we were really good, like we got on really well, and she just turned around and was like, "You're stuck with me now, you're my friend." And I was like, "Absolutely, you're mine too, so that's fine." And I think that's the kind of, like, it sounds really extreme, but that's kind of how you make friends. You just have to be a friend to make a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense. Oh, quite a few of these actually say, how do you deal with not having enough, not feeling like you have enough? How do you deal with awkward situations and questions at parties with family or married people? So I'm assuming this means, like, how do you deal with being like around family and people who are asking you questions about your situation / like, I don't know how to word this in the best way, but like lack of child or lack of marriage.
I mean, I've been there. I have been there. I have been there, my friends. I think you just need to be honest and just try and say, look, I'm not ready and I'm not at that point. It's my life. Like, obviously say it in like the nicest way possible, but obviously
like
being
it will happen
quite
when it happens.
blunt about it, because ultimately it's your life. It's up to you when you decide to have a kid, you decide to get married, and all of that stuff. It happens naturally. So I think if you just say, look, I'm not at that point yet. I really don't want to settle down yet. I'm living my absolute best life. And you kind of like say it a couple of times, family and friends kind of start to get the hint that you don't want to talk about it, and they will stop asking.
Yeah.
That's what I found with my family
also,
anyways.
Yeah, I think older generations especially, I think, don't respect the boundary of what they should and shouldn't ask in that respect, because they don't understand that, especially I think grandparents, like, they don't quite understand that you, like, we're not on the same timeline as them, or we got married really young and then we like had babies really young and all that kind of thing. Like, they just don't understand and they can't grasp that we're in our 30s and we don't have that. So I think you just need to kind of, like Tash said, be a bit firm and say that you are just not in that place, and that's okay. Like, you're on your own timeline, you're doing what you want to do, you're having fun, you're living your life, and that's that. And if people continue to pry, then I don't really know what to do in that situation, because I would just be like, okay, enough now, bye. Like, let's change the conversation. Or just you know, try and change the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Just try and change the conversation. Be like, oh, so what are you doing today, Susan, then? How's your life? How's your life going? Just change the conversation. Trust me, it works.
Or just be like, why are you married? Why are you asking me why I'm not? Why are you?
Exactly. Why do you have kids? Come on, sell it to me. Why should I have kids? Go on and tell me.
Sell me children.
Exactly. I'll give you 5 minutes. Tell me. Why should I have a child?
Okay, have you got another question?
Has the cost of living crisis had an impact on your decision regarding the age of having kids?
That kind of relates to what we were saying earlier with like we don't, it's hard because there's no right time to have kids, and I don't think you need to be, I mean, yes, you kind of do need to be in a certain financial situation to be able to afford children. They are expensive, but I don't think that you do either. Like, I think anyone can have a child. It's just your personal, like, I don't know how to explain this in the best way without coming across like a right dick, but like, people have babies on very low incomes, and they do it and they survive, and those children are healthy, they're happy, they're thriving, they live their best life, and they have so much love around them and so much support, and they're rich in love and memories and happiness. And I think finances are a big part of having a child, because you do ultimately need to be able to keep a roof over their head, etc. But I don't think that it would change my decision as to when I want them.
No, exactly. I think if it happens, like, you just deal with it, because it's happened with like generation after generation. Everyone has had different financial points. Like, we're in a generation now, like, yes, okay, we have like a cost of living crisis going on. It does affect what we think, but think to like years ago, it was probably a lot worse than what it is now, and people were still popping out like 4 or 5 kids. Like, my nan, 5 kids.
Yeah, people had a lot more kids back in the day. Exactly.
And then, you know, me adding on 6, number 6, you know, the golden child. But the favourite. Hey, family. I'm the favourite, joking. Not joking. But everyone comes to terms with it, and they make it work. And as long as you've got a good support system, family support system, friend support system, if you are with the father or you're not with the father, you make it work. As long as the baby
like, if I got pregnant tomorrow, I'd keep it. Like, I'd be fine. I mean, obviously, but I think, like, if one of us had a baby tomorrow, or we found out we were pregnant tomorrow, we'd just be like, okay, not when I thought it would happen, but we'll deal with it. We'll make it work.
Exactly. It's like, we'll be here to support you if you need us. We're here. As long as like there is a lot of love around the kid, there is a roof over their head, they're fed, it is okay. And I think that's one thing we all need to kind of remember, and not think, oh my god, I need to have like X amount of money in the bank account to have a kid, and I need to be like in like the best job that I can be for my child. As long as the kid has love, a roof over its head, it is okay.
Yeah. Children don't need a lot. Like, they just need love and comfort and happiness. Like, I know that people are going to come for me and be like, but they need this and this and this. I know, but I mean, like,
everyone's going to have an opinion.
I don't think there's ever a right time to have a child, and I don't think there's ever a right amount of money that you need to have a child. I think, don't get me wrong, like, the cost of living is scary, and I do think it's very expensive to be alive on this planet. But I do think that it wouldn't, I have so many things I want for my life, and I don't want to then get old and regret not having a child because I was like, oh, well, I couldn't afford one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you just make the best of what you've got.
Exactly.
And we all only get what we've got, so
exactly, just need to embrace it.
We're just out here living our best life.
Living my best life.
So every episode, I end the episode with a task of the week. So it's like a good vibe task, something to go away with and make you feel really good and make you feel really just inspired and positive, and kind of take everything we've said and utilize it into your life to make you feel amazing this week. So me and Tash have decided that today/this week's good vibe of the week is going to be to journal out. It kind of goes hand in hand with Tash saying that she's like self-discovery era. We love that for her, and I'm doing the same.
Oh yes.
So we thought it would be a good thing for you to like journal out how your life looks versus how you thought it would look, and why you're grateful that it looks the way it looks now, and the way that your life would be different. So kind of just start writing out your thoughts and just see what flows, and see how you feel and all that kind of stuff, because I think journaling is so powerful, especially in like self-discovery and just finding out who you are and finding out your why and your purpose. So that's kind of what we thought would be a good little task for this week. Sometimes the tasks will be a bit heavy, sometimes they'll be really lighthearted, but we just thought that was quite a good one to leave you to go away with. And also, for the shits and gigs, I think you should absolutely go back through your Facebook folders and look at all the old pictures of nights out, because they are comedy gold.
Definitely. You'll be able to look back and think of all the hair mistakes that you made, the deep side parts for us, and the concealer lips.
Yeah, the concealer lips were a vibe.
But wouldn't change them because that is something that we can tell our future kids.
Absolutely.
Never make this mistake.
Okay, on that note, we're going to end the episode. So thank you very much for having a good chat with me, Tash.
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
I'm very impressed with your first podcast. I'm very impressed.
I'm sweating. No, I'm joking.
I mean, you literally are sat against a radiator, so I'm going to blame that.
It's not even on, that's the thing.
Oh.
I'm not sweating, I'm just, I'm proud of myself. It's been a winter day. It's been a good day.
You've had a win today.
I know.
You had your tooth out yesterday, like your whole tooth, not tooth out, you had a screw fitted or something, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had a dental implant
quite 24 hours.
Yeah, it's not fun.
She's living on no sleep right now.
Exactly. If you follow me on Instagram, there's a highlight about my whole teeth journey. Dental implants are not fun.
Yeah, we'll leave Tash's Instagram and stuff down below. Every platform you can find her on will be in the description, like a YouTube video, in the show notes. And I'll also leave anything I don't think we've really mentioned anything else that could be linked, but no. I'll leave all of Tash's links in the little bit. And then if you want another episode, let us know. We have actually got another one coming soon with our friend Amelia, so we're going to be touching on some different topics, which is very exciting. But yeah, I guess we'll end the episode here.
Yes.
It's been a nice hour-long chat.
It's been
Love that for us.
I know. Rambling on as always.
No tea was spilt, but maybe next time.
I think definitely next time there'll be some tea spilt.
There is potential it's going to be filmed just before a bottomless brunch, so we will be in very different mindsets, potentially a tinny down. I actually had to teach Tash what a tinny was a couple of weeks ago because she didn't know.
Yes.
A tinny is a tin, like the cocktail tins you get in like M&S. They're blooming great. But yeah, we're gonna round off the episode there. So I hope we brought you some good vibes, and I hope that you feel, if you were worrying about being in your 30s or your 20s and you're just worrying about timelines and stuff, I hope we brought a bit of comfort to you that you are not alone and that you are on the right timeline for you and your life, and the universe will never let things pass you by if they're meant for you. So yeah, on that note,
goodbye everyone. Have a lovely day.
Bye,
a lovely
guys.
Week. Bye.
Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.